On every NBA team, there's always a person that's more overrated than the other players, or a person that gets more recognition than they probably should. So, I'm going to be going over all overrated players on all 30 NBA teams. Starting off with the Boston Celtics, you have to go with Amir Johnson, who really doesn't fit the needs of the Boston Celtics, which they need rebounding. And he really hasn't been able to do that. Tristan Thompson of the Cleveland Cavaliers. This one was tough to go for because Cleveland obviously has tons of great players, but I just decided to go over with Tristan Thompson, who has a huge contract. Going with the Los Angeles Clippers, Redick, who's more of an X factor. This one was very tough as well. You go with other players, but I decided to go with Redick, who is obviously a great three-point shooter. Next, you got to go with the Chicago Bulls and you got to go with Dwayne Wade, a guy that looked like he could change this team around, make them a playoff team, but really hasn't been doing any of that. Next, coming to the Memphis Grizzlies, you got Chandler Parsons, a player that went out and got a huge deal from the Grizzlies, who thought he was going to be a huge contender and help this team go more and deeper into the playoffs, but he really hasn't been doing any of that. He's been injured, playing on limit restrictions, and basically been doing nothing for that team. Next, for the Milwaukee Bucks, John Henson, who hasn't taken that next step for the player that he really should be, a great defensive anchor. Next, you got to go with the Atlanta Hawks and Kent Bazemore, a player that played great last year, great in the playoffs, but really this year, he hasn't been playing well at all. He really hasn't been shooting the ball well, and hopefully he can figure it out. Next, for the Philadelphia 76ers, Nerlens Noel, a player that coming into the season didn't get that many minutes, and still hasn't been really proving himself. Fourth, the Charlotte Hornets, you got to go with Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, a second overall pick, and he really hasn't been able to, the small forward that Charlotte's wanted. Can't shoot the ball, really can't do anything besides great defensive player as well as a really good rebounder. But for the Miami Heat, I really do not want to do this one because I love Goran Dragic, but I will call him a little bit overrated. For the Utah Jazz, Derek Favors, who this year hasn't really been playing at all. He looked like he was going to be really good this year, but injuries have really stepped back his game. Rudy Gay, I don't know if this is really a fair one for most overrated because he is injured, but this one for sure. New York Knicks went out and signed Joakim Noah, who Joakim Noah hasn't been that defensive anchor, hasn't been that, not the scorer he really has been, but not the assist guy, as well as he really hasn't, he's been injured for most of the year. Next, for the Los Angeles Lakers, Luol Deng, a guy that hasn't been shooting that well this year, and I guess he brings that kind of defensive mentoring as well as that mentoring for the younger guys. For the Dallas Mavericks, you got to go with Andrew Bogut, a guy that won a championship and could bring that over for Dallas, but has been injured for the most of this year. For the Magic, you got to go with Bismack Biyombo, a guy that played great in the playoffs for Toronto, but really hasn't been proving that much here in Orlando. And hopefully you can pick it up for them. For Brooklyn, you got to go with Brook Lopez. Even though he's been playing really well, he's more overrated. And for the Denver Nuggets, you can also go with other players, but I decided to go with Danilo Gallinari, who hasn't been shooting that ball really well, hasn't taken that next step, but he is kind of doing pretty well as this team is going in the 8th seed and is going up in the Western Conference. Next, for the Pelicans, I don't really like this one, but I decided to throw it in there. Drew Holiday, who has been keeping up. He's been doing better, but hopefully he can continue on that ramp and help out Anthony Davis and the Pelicans. Going for the Pacers, you got to go with Thaddeus Young, who they traded for from the Brooklyn Nets, has been injured a ton, and really, he's getting too much hype. For the Pistons, John Lure, pretty good shooter, just really hasn't been playing that well. He's sometimes starting, as well as sometimes occasionally coming off the bench. For the Toronto Raptors, you got to go with DeMar Carroll, who they thought was going to be a huge anchor as he helped the Atlanta Hawks, but really hasn't helped them. For the Houston Rockets, kind of an X-Factor type of person, but you got to go with Patrick Beverley, a guy that ever since James Harden moved over to point guard really hasn't found himself as the old person he has been, but he's a really good defensive player. For the San Antonio Spurs, you got to go with Danny Green. Over the years, been hitting so many key shots, but really hasn't picked it up this year. For the Golden State Warriors, not much to choose from, but Zaza Pachulia right there, who could have been an all-star, but luckily the coaches counted him out. And then finally, for the Portland Trail Blazers, I'm going with Aminu, who really hasn't figured it out for the Portland Trail Blazers. So if you guys agree, make sure to tell me in the comment section. And if you guys don't, you guys feel like I left someone out, make sure to hit that like button, tell me in the comment section. Make sure you guys hit that like button, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.